1994, guys. I was 12 years old, and during that time, my late mother took me to see a live-action version of Hanna-Barbera's classic Family from Bedrock, The Flintstones. Y'all remember that movie? If you do, bless you. If you don't, I recommend watching it. It is just a fun film. And if you are a fan and you grew up watching the classic Hanna-Barbera cartoons from the 60s, like the Flintstones, and all the characters like Yogi Bear and Snagglepuss and Quick Draw McGraw and all those characters that came out, you know, did I say Yogi Bear? Yeah, of course, Yogi Bear. And of course, yeah, the Jetsons. You grew up in a good time. And the Flintstones, and in that live action, we had John Goodman, the great John Goodman playing Fred Flintstone, who murdered that role. He killed that role, and I loved it seeing him. My mother even said, man, he played Fred very well. You had the great Rick Moranis who played Barney, which was a little, I grew up with Rick Moranis, so to see him play Barney was very interesting. You had Elizabeth Perkins as Wilma, and you had Rosie O'Donnell as Betty, who gets a lot of flack for her performance, or says she was poorly casted. To me, she did a great job as well as Betty. I'm not gonna throw some shade on Rosie O'Donnell, because a lot of people figure somebody else should have played it. She was fine. She was good. She was cool. It felt like they really just took the cartoon and just went live action with. You had Halle Berry in there. She played her name was Sharon Stone, which cracked me up in that. You had Kyle MacLachlan. There were a lot of actors in there that you just would not expect to be, but they really did a good job with it. For 1994, they did a great job. And even Elizabeth Taylor was in there, and even how they did Pebbles, they did Bam Bam, how they even did Dino. Like, it's like, wow, they did a good job. After leaving that theater, watching that movie, guys, you know what I said to myself? Okay, when's the Jetsons coming? That's what I said. I said, when are the Jetsons coming? When are they coming? When's the Jetsons? Where's the Space Age family? When are they coming? They were around. They came out right around the same time as the Flintstones, and we even got a crossover between them. But we never got that, because before that we did get a Jetsons movie back in 1990, which was great, fun, classic. George got his promotion finally in that, and the Jetsons left and moved to another place, and things went crazy from there. But it was a good movie. But still, 94, that was 90. 94, I was saying, when were we gonna get a Jetsons? And unfortunately, I think personally, even though I wanted it, there was in the back of my mind, guys, I was saying at that time, I don't think they could pull that off properly. Even though there was a part of me, there was a struggle between me. So I waited and was hoping someday we get a live action Jetsons. But we did get live action movies of other Hanna-Barbera, Yogi Bear, Rocky and Bullwinkle. Well, no, Rocky and Bullwinkle's not Hanna-Barbera, sorry. But there was a Rocky and Bullwinkle live action. The Smurfs, because Smurfs are Hanna-Barbera. Scooby-Doo, all that. No Jetsons. Until now. And I'm sorry I took y'all so long, but I had to build it up. So, according to Deadline, Warner Brothers can confirm that they have been talking with Jim Carrey, the man himself, Jim Carrey, to play in a live-action version of the Jetsons movie. The movie I want to make sure I get his. The movie would be directed. They're eyeing Colin Trevorrow to direct the movie, and same thing. He would also direct, write, and co-write the script. And I'm looking at that, and I'm saying to myself, Jim Carrey as George Jetson. Is that where they're going with that? I said to myself, not my first choice. I love Jim Carrey. You grew up with Jim Carrey. We all grew up. I mean, most of y'all grew up with him, but there's a lot of us that can say we grew up with him from his early days in Hollywood, as well as his big start on In Living Color. You know, a lot of people will say they grew up when he was Ace. For me, it started with early movies like Once Bitten, and then of course his In Living Color work he did, which it's probably some of his best work, his character work on there. But yeah, Jim Carrey is George Jetson. You know, it's funny because he was not my first choice for. You know who was my first choice for George Jetson? Believe it or not, William H. Macy. I thought William H. Macy probably could have pulled off George Jetson in the early days, like early 2000s. And now, you know, Mr. Macy's getting a little older now, but still. But him to play George Jetson, I'd give it a shot. Now they haven't talked about anybody else who they would cast. No Jane. They haven't said who played Jane or Judy or Elroy. Hopefully they would get somebody to voice Rosie, their maid robot. And unfortunately, the late great Don Messick has passed away. He's been gone for a long time, so we can't. Who would play Astro? And that's another question right there. How would they do Astro? Because Astro is just like Scooby and all, and more. They're dogs, but they act more human. They have more human features. But the one that really made us like, well, they better get this. For me, it was always said, even back then when I was saying, when is the Jetson movie? I kept saying, I still feel this way today. You better get Danny DeVito to play Mr. Spacely. And I kept saying that, and I would say that over and over and over. And it's even still to this day, I'm still saying, get Mr. DeVito to play Spacely, Mr. Spacely. You could say, well, Danny's getting up there too, but yeah, I still want him to play it. But then when this news that came out, I slept on it for a while, and I even started conversating with other people on my social media accounts about it too. And I said to myself, you know, if they don't get Danny, they may go after somebody else who I think they probably will go after more than anything. And who is that? Peter Dinklage. I think Peter Dinklage would probably get casted as Mr. Spacely. And if that happens, I'll be okay with it too. But I think we all wanted Danny DeVito was perfect for the role. And it really comes down to who would I get to play, you know, the rest of the cast. I'm looking at, so let's do this for a bit. How about that? Let's do this, because I am excited. A Jetsons movie, great. I heard people saying why now? Because it's now to the point where they got the right avenue of technology and things that it can work. It can look more legit than just really going like how like it's a green screen and things like no. So let's start off with Jane. Who could I see playing Jane Jetson? I mean, I was gonna. I got one. I got one. I think she could nail it. Jessica Chastain. I think she could nail it. Jessica Chastain, I think, could do Jane Jetson proud. I think she could do that. In terms of Judy, they would probably have, if it was me doing Judy, she's a little older now, but I could see Haley Steinfeld playing her. I would have been like, okay. And in terms of Little Elroy, that's tough because now you're dealing with kid actors, and you need somebody who could pull off Elroy. Elroy, I would definitely go with more. I mean, look at one of those kids from one of the Disney shows or so, or something like that, or just an unknown could work. As for who I would get to voice Rosie in that, who would I get to voice Rosie? Oh my God, who could I see voicing Rosie? Who could I see voicing Rosie? Oh my God, Rosie's probably a real talented, a real voice actress, like someone like E.G. Daily or somebody like that. I could see voicing Rosie, but they would probably want to get a real actor to voice it. But I would go more for a real legit voice actress whose job is to voice characters. But then you gotta also put that swag of that, because Rosie always had like that. She always came off like she was a robot from Brooklyn. She has that strong. You can hear it. Go back and watch them early though, and you hear like, yeah, she's from New York. Like you can hear it. So that's why. And Astro, again, someone like Frank Welker or somebody like that who could do dog voices very well, or even oh my God, why am I forgetting his name? He does a lot of voices now. I'm forgetting his name right now off the top of my head, but he does a lot. He voiced Sonny in iRobot. I'm forgetting his name right now. Why am I forgetting his name? It's right off the top of my head. But you guys are gonna put it in the comment section. But yeah, I can see a certain amount of people who could probably pull off those roles, But I'm excited for a live action Jetsons film, because I've been wanting this for so long. Since I was 12, I wanted to see a Jetsons movie. Now the whole thing about what really is gonna play more is what the story is gonna be about, because again you got to also go back to what happened in the animated film from the 90s, that early one where basically George got a big promotion and things like that, or what else can you do with it? I mean, and how many of the characters are going to be in it? That's the question. You got to have the family. What other supporting characters are they giving? Are you going to have Grandpa Jetson in there? Grandpa Jetson. Are you going to have Cosgrove? Spacely's rival. Will we have some of the classic songs like what was one of those songs I remember? What was that guy's name? Jumpin' George, and he would say, "Hey, baby, baby, baby," and he sing this song, "Eep, eep." Yeah, you gotta have that song in there. That would be great. But yeah, there's and then also in terms of Elroy's, like Elroy had he had Astro and he had Orbity. You know, he had his little like creature that can spring legs and climb up. And, you know, he was talking like this. All right, Jim. Come on, Astro. You know, he talked like that. So it's pretty funny. But I am actually excited, you know, to see, and I think Jim could pull it off. Mr. Carrey could pull it off. I mean, who would have thought he would pulled off Dr. Robotnik and Eggman so well? But he did. You know, he contributed to that role, and he did a damn good job. And so, you know, at the end of the day, Jim Carrey is a character actor as well, and he does his characters well. He's right up in there, like your Eddie Murphys and people like that. That's who he is. He's so good at that, and it just does excite me to know that there is a Jetsons movie in the works. You know, I've been wanting this since I was 12. After seeing that first Flintstones movie, I didn't care for the other one, the Viva Rock Vegas. No, I didn't care for that one. But the other one, I loved, because because that was more of a prequel. But I did like that first one, and still to this day, Fred Flintstone, one of my favorite roles for John Goodman is playing Fred Flintstone. So, but ever since then, I have wanted to see a Jetsons live action film, and now it's happening. I'm happy. What say you guys? Are you happy? If you are a Jetsons fan, are you happy? Do you think now is the time to do it? I feel now is the time to do it now. I just want it to be fun and see those characters come to life and see everything. I mean, we're living in the world of Jetsons right now. Everything is almost with a push of a button. Everything is digital, and so it's funny. We are becoming more and more like the Jetsons every day. You know, every time you see them, like, I gotta. You know, Jane gets up and she does her aerobics. She ain't doing aerobics. You know what she's doing aerobics on? Her fingers. Okay, we'll do this. Okay, and then so she could just push a button, and dinner comes out. It's the funniest shit. It's so funny. But yo, guys, yes, and that's my thoughts on the live action Jetsons film that's coming, soon to be Jetsons film. I'm looking forward to it, and I believe Deadline more than I'll believe any, because that is a reliable source. That's a reliable source I can believe. But I'll just have to wait and see. I think Jim Carrey's still got a lot left in the tank before, you know, he's claiming that he wants to retire. So, but Jim Carrey as George Jetson wasn't my first, but I can accept this. You guys take care. I'll see you guys next time.